You wake up late to the market. How do you know? The first thing you did was check your phone to see what time it was. Roll over and think, I'm already late. Might as well scroll TikTok. And then you finally decide to get up and trade the markets. Big moves already happened, so you feel FOMO when you hop into a position and it immediately goes the opposite way. And this has been your trading journey on repeat since you started, until you decide to make a change. And one book changed the entire game for me.
This is literally where everything changed. Trading for me got to a point where it just didn't make sense to keep trading. I was working 2 jobs, and then when I would come, I would literally blow my paycheck on trading, and it literally sounds something of a gambling addict. And I can pinpoint exactly when my trading started to change, when I focused on journaling my trade. And I want to make this video a bit different because I know a lot of people talk about journaling, but they never really get to the actual point. What did they journal? What steps did they take to make their trading better? I want to show you guys exactly what you need to be journaling and focusing on every single day, instead of just telling you to journal and then hope you figure it out.
So how do you journal? First part of this 5-step process is you need to know how you're going to journal. Is it going to be on pen and paper? Is it going to be using TradeZella? What are you going to use? So for me personally, I like to use TradeZella because I can upload screenshots, all that stuff, and it not get too confusing with a book. But if you're broke and you're just starting out and you're not profitable yet, you could use a book, but I'd still recommend TradeZella because what is it, like $30 a month? You're gonna lose that anyways in the markets. Like, it's inevitable. You might as well just get TradeZella. I mean, I don't know. It's really up to you. If you think you're gonna be disciplined enough to put it in every day, just get a pen and paper, use a book. Otherwise, use TradeZella, skip DoorDash for a day. It's going to be worth it. And once you figure that out, we're gonna move on to the actual game plan. So when you're setting up your game plan every single morning, you want to look for the same bundle of stocks that you normally trade. So for me, that's futures. Every single day on ES, I mark out my zones, I mark out my levels, and then I come up with sort of a narrative on what I think is going to happen in the markets. So for example, if I'm going into a day where the market is bouncing off a crucial level it's always bounced off of, I'm going to look for us to either invalidate supply to go long or return back to demand to long. I'm not going to be looking for shorts, things of that nature, and I'm going to put that in my game plan because once I reinforce it in my game plan and I know I follow my game plan, it's going to be a lot easier to trade that day. So for this entire month, as you can see, I have literally only had one red day because every single day I go in with a game plan and I follow that game plan to a T. And anytime I stray away from that game plan, I'm quickly reminded because then I'll have this ugly red on my calendar, which I wish I just listened to my game plan. So what goes into your game plan is also waking up an hour before market. I know a lot of you guys are trading, waking up late to the market, waking up right at market open, and that's the dumbest thing that you can possibly do when it comes to trying to be a profitable trader. You need to be up early and you need to know exactly what the market's doing before you go into the trading day. A lot of people, and I used to do this too, is wake up 30 minutes after market and then go ahead and take trades when they haven't been awake fully. You need to be fully awake and you need to have some sort of routine. I'm not saying go take a cold plunge and then fucking run 5 miles. What I'm saying is wake up 1 hour before market, brush your teeth, do whatever. You can skip breakfast. You can just get coffee, whatever, and look at the market and start to see how the market reacted overnight and see what we're setting up to do this morning. Mark out any times we have news. We usually have news at 8:30 in the morning or 10 a.m. Mark that out and put it in your game plan and set that game plan up before market. And the days that you don't wake up early and the days you don't have a game plan because you woke up late, your punishment is that you're not going to trade that day because you don't have a game plan going into that day. That's like going into an NBA Finals game where there's actual stakes and literally not knowing any of the plays, not knowing who you're going to pass to, and just freestyling what you're going to do. And that's never going to work. You need to have a winning mentality in the sport of trading. And the most important thing about all of this is that you need to trade according to that game plan. So here's what your game plan should consist of. It should consist of the levels and the zones before going into the market. It should consist of the news that is that day. So you can find this on forexfactory.com for completely free. You're going to be marking those out to avoid trading or being in a trade during that time. It should also have your pre-market analysis. What do you think the market's going to do based around your levels? And then after all of that, you should be reviewing your trades and going through them step by step. You should have a playbook. Now, a playbook is basically where you have your different sort of entry strategies. So for me, I'll give this to you guys. I have absorption at a key level, volume clusters, and multi-volume nodes. And for a lot of you guys, that's going to sound really, just confusing. But don't worry, that's like break and retest of a demand, morning flush strategy, morning top reversal, things like that in your playbook, and attach those to your trades, because then what you could do is you could actually connect those to your trades and put screenshots of what the market looked like, where you bought, where you sold, so you could go ahead and see what you were thinking. And also another thing that I've been doing recently is I've been taking a screenshot of my footprint chart when I take a trade, and I've been attaching it to that actual trade, and then I break down what I saw in that candle that made me take the trade. And this way it's helped me analyze a little bit more and sort of not second guess, but think twice before I enter. Because if I've made a mistake previously on a candle that looks similar, I'll be like, wait, this happened that time, let me think twice about it, and I'll usually save myself from making a mistake. And there's so much that goes into journaling that people just don't understand. The main thing I would say that you need to do as a trader is at the end of each day, win or lose, your first thing that you need to be doing after you trade is journaling that trade. Some days what I'll even do is when I'm mid-trade and I sized up a little bit or I'm doing something new, I am literally typing out or recording my voice and talking to myself as I'm in that trade. And the reason why, I'll give you guys an example. When I was in a trade recently where I was sized up, I was sitting there and I was recording my voice and I was like, okay, I'm a little bit nervous here. We're in some drawdown, but the trade is still performing, and it's not an area to stop out yet. And I was saying that out loud, and then I went back after I closed out the trade for profit, and I looked back and saw how my thought process was during the trade, and I pinpointed exactly what the reasoning was that I was stressing out in that trade. And the reason was because I entered early on a setup that I usually wait for confirmation to enter. And because of that, I did that again. So I went into a trade with the same amount of size the next day, and I recorded myself and I was like, all right, I'm in this trade. I'm feeling a lot better because now I know what I did wrong last time. And I know that my thought process is going to be different this time because I went back and I analyzed what I was doing in the last trade. And you see a lot of parallels between trading and sports, because in sports what they do is they literally have recordings of games and specific players, and people literally are hired to analyze what you do wrong, what you do right in professional sports, and show you, hey, you did this last time, if you do this, you're gonna actually go ahead and tackle the quarterback. And that's what journaling really is. It's like watching film for trading. And a lot of people don't consider trading a sport. People consider it a hobby, and that's why you fucking lose money. Treat it like a fucking sport, treat it like an actual job, and you will get results. And I know I'm being a little bit harsh, but that's just the truth of it. So that's why in this video I wanted to sort of break down my journaling process, and hopefully it helped you guys just a little bit.